El Ligero has been spotted at a local family wrestling show. NXT UK celebrate their 3-year anniversary. AEW to possibly hold a significant pay-per-view in the UK. Zack Sabre Jr. has missed out on advancing in the G1 climax. Big Damo returns to action in a huge 6-man tag match in October. Shota Umino has been injured at the hands of the United Empire. There have been huge announcements regarding RevPro UK British J-Cup, and Northwest Strong have increased their ranks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Tea and Tights, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net. I am your host, the Great British Otaku, Mr. Andrew Moore, and Eaton Most, and I am joined, as always, by the co-host. He is the pro wrestling t-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Daniel Allen. Hello again.
It is again.
It is again. We did record this last night.
Slight technical difficulties we had last night, so we're back again with the ill behaviour.
Yeah, and we're one day behind, but that's not a problem. We know all of you guys will still watch us and listen to us, and we thank you very much for that. We've got tons of UK news, of course. We've got loads of British Wrestling Roundup. We've got reviews of the biggest shows of the week. And, well, I think we've got to start off.
We've got to start off with difficult news. It's news that we feel that we need to report on, even if we don't actually like what it is.
Indeed. So, El Ligero has been spotted wrestling at a local British wrestling show. The promotion in question was Worldwide Promotions. It was a show in Oldham. He was photographed wrestling against a young British wrestler by the name of Joseph the Asset Biggs. It was originally thought to be EPW. This was later this was a mistake, and it was pointed out that EPW had lent Worldwide Promotions their ring, and they were not aware of who was on the card. I don't actually want to refer to this man as El Ligero, so from this point forward, we will be referring to him as Simon Musk, because he does not deserve to be called by the wrestling name. He doesn't deserve to be in wrestling. He doesn't deserve to have a name. So Simon Musk has been spotted at a local family show. Are there any thoughts and feelings towards this at all, Dan?
Yeah, I feel saddened that he is still being booked. I feel sad for his opponent, who unfortunately, we don't know the full story of why he did wrestle El Ligero. It might well be that he travelled a long way. It might well be that he needed the payday. It might be a number of things, but I would assume that he will make a statement at some point soon. If you look back at the Speaking Out movement and the number of people that spoke out against Simon Musk there, it's just not right that he should be still part of the British wrestling scene, and we won't forget the Speaking Out movement.
No, absolutely. He abused his position of power. It's not fair on the brave women that did come forward and speak about this. They're not our stories to tell, so we don't want to have to name the poor women that did come forward. But as you say, several women did come forward, and
strong women,
strong women, and it is a very, very disappointing to see that a promotion, no matter how small, especially since this will probably attract the local crowd of maybe young children who may not be aware of the allegations that were made against Simon Musk, because they may not have been wrestling fans. You know, these were people who were just like, oh, look, there's a wrestling show on today. Let me take my kids to this.
Several of which he did admit to.
Yeah. So it's disappointing. It's a shame. And I just think we should move on to something a bit more upbeat, NXT UK have celebrated their 3-year anniversary.
Happy birthday, NXT UK.
Indeed. Yesterday itself, the 17th of the 10th, the first ever episode was the 17th of the 10th in 2018. There's been some great, it was difficult there was a lot of hate towards NXT UK when it first started.
There was. People were determined that its existence would destroy British wrestling, that British wrestling would die because of NXT UK. I think it's safe to say that was a load of tosh.
Yeah, I think on a short term, it did affect things. But on a long-term thing, it has created almost another boom. There are so many young wrestlers out there right now, so many incredible young wrestlers, incredible young wrestlers than I've probably ever seen before. There are some truly amazing young wrestlers out there who are going to go out and make their mark across the world. And so, as I say, yeah, short term it may have hurt a bit. I think long term it's done it good.
I think so. And we have put together, well, I say we, primarily Andy has put together our Tea and Tights top 10 NXT matches for the first 3 years.
Yeah, I just thought I'd have a look around and see what I came up with. And as you say, it's what I did is I only counted from NXT UK starting point, so none of the NXT UK tournaments, such as the Tyler Bate Pete Dunne match, was of course pre NXT UK, so it wouldn't be included, as was their rematch. So nothing that was mainstream NXT. So if it was on an NXT takeover, it did not count. It could only be an NXT UK takeover or an NXT UK show.
We've also left out people that were mentioned in the Speaking Out movement.
Yes, personal preference. We just decided that we don't want to highlight their matches. We want to highlight the good guys that we believe are to be at NXT UK. So I kicked off things. This was no particular order. So it was, I think, A-Kid and Trent Seven, that NXT UK Heritage Cup final on the 28th of November 2020. I loved that match. I really did. I thought it was amazing.
God, was that nearly a year ago?
It was almost a year ago, yes.
Bloody hell.
But I really loved it because I think we all assumed Trent Seven was winning. I don't think there was anyone out there that thought A-Kid was going to win. A-Kid was my number one choice for the tournament, but I only did it from a fan's perspective. I did not expect him to get past the first round, let alone to actually go on to win the tournament. And yeah, so I absolutely loved the moment when he did. Next up was the A-Kid versus Walter match, which I really think just gets underrated and missed on several of Walter's matches. His match against A-Kid, which was the 16th of January in 2021, and it was absolutely fantastic. I literally pulled from last week, as I truly believe A-Kid's match here against Ilya Dragunov, which we'll go into more details later, was fantastic. And of course, carrying on with Ilya Dragunov, I've made a mistake here and I need to correct that. It's Ilya Dragunov versus Walter on the 29th of October, 2018. It's on my actual article. I've made the mistake. So Ilya Dragunov versus Walter, 29th of October 2020. Zach Gibson versus Noam Dar.
That was a brilliant match.
That was you must have, were you there for that match?
I was not there for that match.
Was
no,
that the next taping?
That was the second night of tapings.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. Because first night was Noam Dar, Pete Dunne, which did get considered, but unfortunately did not make the cut. Tyler Bate versus Walter, because how could it not be? It was a phenomenal NXT UK takeover main event. The Grizzled Young Veterans versus Mustache Mountain, which was 12th of January 2019. All those years ago.
Many years
ago. And then we've got Mako Satomura versus Kaylee Ray on the 10th of June 2021. Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm on the 18th of January 2020. And Kaylee Ray versus Piper Niven 19th of November 2020. I went with the I Quit Toni Storm Kaylee Ray match.
Now, it's a tough one for me to pick one out of these, but Kaylee Ray versus Piper Niven appealed to me in so many different ways. It was just an all-round brawl. There was the technical aspects to it. There was the fighting backstage to it. There was just everything I love in a match. And for me, that is not the standout, but it had everything.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that match as well. I remember when I first showed you the list, a bit A-Kid heavy. You can't deny those 3 A-Kid matches were absolutely fantastic. There are a couple more A-Kid matches that are absolutely phenomenal. One of them I don't want to mention though.
I did. It was my first message to you. Can't argue, seems rather A-Kid heavy. But I can't argue with it either because A-Kid has been doing phenomenal wrestling. Get him a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And watch him fly.
Indeed. And he's still actually a growing young man. I think he's very, very much in his early 20s. So, you know, we've seen him develop and get bigger over the past year or so. And I think he will, again, still put on a bit more weight. Obviously, he's probably not going to gain much more height than he is already, but there's nothing he can do about that. But yeah, just because if WWE don't want to do anything with him, AEW could do so much good things with A-Kid.
Yeah.
Because he is their style of wrestler.
As could New Japan.
Yeah, actually, let's go for it. First time ever. AEW, WWE, or other. Kind of like the Kiss, Marry, Kill. So A-Kid, do you send him to WWE main roster, AEW, or other?
I would go other, and I would go New Japan, as I just said.
I'd love to him to do at least a J Cup, a Junior Cup or thing. And if he goes to AEW, there's a possibility for that. I think he's better suited for one of those two than he is for WWE. We might have to revisit that game, maybe pick a few wrestlers each time and have a little bit of fun with AEW, WWE, or other. Because don't forget, people, there are other wrestling shows out there.
Yeah, GCW are coming on leaps and bounds.
Hey, absolutely. I do like Game Changer Wrestling. Despite all their hardcore, they do put on some phenomenal matches and cards.
They do, and I also like the way they change the style of cards and have so many different styles under the GCW banner, where you have all the different things like Josh Barnett's Bloodsport and things like that.
Yeah, especially, as you know, the Josh Barnett Bloodsports for me, I absolutely love them. They beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, the upcoming Maria Shafina versus Marsha
Slammer.
Anyway, that match is going to be awesome. That's the one.
Masha
well
Slamovich.
done.
We do apologise. So we watch so much UK wrestling that it's hard to see all the up and comers coming out there in America at the moment. I think, I'd say for me, the only other brand I typically watch is ROH. Oh, and the New Japan Strong, which we'll be talking about just a little bit.
Yeah, but while we're talking about New Japan
or AEW,
all right. Oh, we'll go to the AEW one. AEW have been rumoured to be having a significant pay-per-view in the UK. Chris Jericho was interviewed and did say this is not a clickbait. that he believes that there will be a major pay-per-view in the UK, possibly Fighter Fest, and possibly at Craven Cottage, home of Fulham Football Club, which is, of course, owned by the Khans.
Indeed, he did stress that he was guessing, but I think it's there because, and as you said, it's the built-in home. It's the Fulham Football Ground. Sorry for you Americans out there, that's soccer. It's football. Anyway, it's the home football ground of Fulham, who are owned, as you say, by and we've talked about it before. It just seems the right place to do it.
I've never asked you, Andy. Do you follow football?
I'm a West Ham United fan.
So no, then.
Oh, that's just mean. Who do you
Well, I believe that football is for people that are too weak to play rugby.
And they're just people who are too weak to go into wrestling.
Well, tell that to Tamatonga. The Rock has been quoted as saying that rugby is harder than American football.
Oh, there you go. I was about to mention that there's a couple of NXT UK guys who are ex-rugby, but I don't actually want to mention them. So, anyway.
Rich Holland.
Yeah, Rich Holland. So, big boys, yeah. It does seem, it's the natural transition when you're that big,
Oh, yes. And they actually have wrestling coaches quite often go in with the rugby league teams to show them different ways to hold people down.
Also, I mean, wrestlers are some of the best tuned athletes out there. So not like, amateur wrestling. They truly are some of the best tuned athletes out there. And it's kind of like commonplace because in the States, it used to be like, after if you kind of didn't work out in American football, you kind of went into wrestling for a little while. Nowadays, it seems like if you don't quite work out in MMA, you go into wrestling these days. But enough about that. And let's talk about Zack Sabre Jr. in the G1 Climax. As of today, Monday, we've changed a little bit because today was the last group match or the group stage match for the G1 Climax. He had gone into the day joint top with Kenta, Kota Ibushi,
and Shingo
Takagi. Shingo Takagi drew his match, which was first on the card. So he only had 13 points. So if Zack Sabre Jr. had won against Tangaloa, which he did not, unfortunately, Tangaloa with the Achilles heel to Zack Sabre Jr. in this. He caught him with a clutch pin as well. Of all things for Zack Sabre Jr. to lose. So he got outmaneuvered by Tangaloa, maybe a bit too cocky. It was a great match, really, really good match. And of course, I hadn't seen the result when I was watching it, so I was kind of like, "Oh, Zack, come on, Zack!" And then it was just, Of course, later in the night, Kota Ibushi would beat Kenta in an incredible match. They just absolutely blistered each other. So he is off to the finals, where I'm assuming he's going to meet Jeff Cobb. And it's going to be Jeff Cobb versus Kota Ibushi, which is going to be fantastic. They've gone at it before, and it was a great match. I think they might be building to a Jeff Cobb win here because they've had Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb previously, and they've always been a really good match. So maybe it's time to main event the Tokyo Dome. Who knows?
I like Jeff Cobb. I'll be happy to see that.
Me too. Yeah, big boy, just a brick wall. And again, so good at wrestling. The way he can swivel his hips on those suplexes, or the Tour of the Islands, where he swings them one way and then swings them back around. The actual hip and core muscles it would take to do something like that. Only someone like Jeff Cobb could do it. Although I did see one of the Synergy guys pulling it off the other day.
Let me make a very serious and journalistic comment here.
What's that?
I bet he's good at twerking.
I bet he probably is.
Right, next story.
What, from one big boy?
Shota Umino.
Is it Shota Umino? I thought it was one big boy to another. I thought it was Big Damo's turn.
No, not on my list, but I'm happy to go with Big Damo.
Big Damo's in the Kings of the North versus United Empire at OTT on October 31st. I know we don't typically talk about OTT, but Big Damo, Kings of the North versus Will Osprey, Aussie Open. What a match.
It's going to be a great match. Now, I said this before about Big Damo. He's a big lad, and the Kings of the North are big lads. And I know that Will Osprey is no cruiserweight, but these are three big, burly, hard-hitting, hard-slapping guys. And I love the Kings of the North. I think they've been amazing.
Mark Davis of Aussie Open is the biggest of all of them.
Dunkzilla.
Ooh. I think Dunkzilla might be the biggest.
I think he's probably got the height. I'm not sure whether he's got the mass on Big Damo.
I mean, Corvin. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So it's just going. Corvin is absolutely just shredded. He's like a perfectly fine-tuned computer wrestler. He is
kind of what you put in as a computer wrestler. He reminds me quite a lot of, oh God, who was it in ECW that I was thinking of the other day when I was watching him? It was Perry Saturn in ECW, and the way that he wrestles with the suplexes and the strikes. I just think he's amazing.
Excellent. And just such a phenomenal tag team. 4 times OTT tag team champions, and they are also the longest reigning TNT Extreme Wrestling champions with the most successful defenses as well. And
they've just made their triumphant return to ICW.
They did. A bit of a lackluster return. Well, you can't say it's lackluster when you don't beat the tag team champions of Progress right now. But yes, they also made the return to Progress Wrestling this week. So double returns for the Kings of the North, and we'll be talking just a little bit more about that in just a little while. But we talked about the United Empire, and we should talk about the fact that the United Empire have injured Shota Umino.
They have indeed. So this was a match that had Will Osprey versus Michael Oku, and Will Osprey won with Bryan Danielson style elbows and was going for the beatdown, and out comes Shota Umino for the save, but all of a sudden was flanked by Aussie Open, and they grabbed the ring tensioner, the ring rope tensioner, the big bit of metal with the hooky bit on the end.
That one.
That one. And absolutely did a number on Shota Umino's knee.
So yeah, he has been reported that he won't be at any future Rev Pro UK tapings or shows as of now. So I don't know whether maybe he had a legitimate injury, or I think you suggested
maybe he just wanted to go home to Japan for a little while.
The holidays are coming up and whatnot. They do celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Christmas differently to us, but they celebrate Christmas.
Yes.
But yeah, we don't know. Maybe he's going to go over to New Japan, USA, New Japan Strong. Maybe it's time for him to return to NJPW full legit. But I think they must surely be building towards Umino versus Osprey at some point.
I would have thought they would have been, and I know that we now have Suji over here. But I still think Shota Umino's got more to do here.
Yeah,
personally.
And for me, I thought he was going to be the guy to dethrone Will eventually for that Rev Pro UK Undisputed Championship. New Japan are happy. It goes to another New Japan guy, but the title can stay in the UK if, obviously, of course, he stays in the UK.
Yeah.
But on to some more Rev Pro UK news, because the British J Cup is coming up. It is on November the 6th. You, my friend, are going to be there, since I told you, I said to you that you should definitely be there. It was in your hometown. It's in your backyard.
It's not my hometown, damn it. But it is right next to it.
Yeah, you're a stone throw away.
And there are a lot of stones thrown around there. I am proud to be going along to the British J Cup because on top of the J Cup, it has been announced that the United Empire will be taking on RKJ and the Young Guns, and Big Damo is going to be coming in to represent the Legion as Lord Gideon Gray's chosen assassin.
Heavy hitter?
Very heavy hitter. To finally take out Yota Tsuji.
Big matches, both of them. I'm Big Damo versus Yota. I just become such a big fan of Yota Tsuji. I want to go to Repro UK so I can chant for Yota Tsuji. Because I want to get a Yota Tsuji fan.
I've told you there is space on my sofa. If you want to come and crash, you're very welcome.
I know it's £70 there and back. I have discussed it, but I think I might be asking just a little bit too much with my wedding coming up soon as well. Can't keep spending money on rent as much as I would like to, as much as I'd love to.
What else has been announced for this?
I'm going to go to RevPro UK when I'm down over Christmas because they've got the St. Neots show, so I'm going to catch that. They've also announced a fifth entrant for the British J Cup, which is Michael Oku. Of course, if Michael Oku wins, he will be the first person to win back-to-back British J Cups. He'll also be the first person to win the competition while holding the Cruiserweight Championship. So right now it is Robbie X, Connor Mills, Francisco Akira, and Speedball Mike Bailey, and as we just mentioned, the Cruiserweight Champion Michael Oku. And the next day at the 229, you'll have Fireball Francisco Akira versus Speedball Mike Bailey, but you'll also have an incredible
Giselle Shaw versus Alex Windsor.
Indeed, in a RevPro UK women's title match. Alex Windsor won a non-title match, which then meant she said, well, now that I've beaten you in a non-title match, I want to fight you with the belt on the line.
Right, hold on a minute. This is my gripe. This is my thing that annoys me, is non-title
giving you
matches.
My gripe of the week from now on. For this week only, you can have it. Go on, my friend. Gripe away.
What the hell is the point of a non-title match when you have a title holder? If you don't want to have them lose, have a count-out victory, have a disqualification, have a tag team match where they take the pin. Do whatever you want. But if you want to have a non-title match and have the opposition win, it completely devalues your champion. It completely devalues your championship. Don't do it.
I like it. You griped well, my friend. You griped very well. I'm going to continue on a bit of a United Empire theme here because if you caught the latest NJPW Strong, which is the American NJPW show, which is available, I think it's on Fight TV. It's also on the NJPW World. Now, this is technically old news because it did actually happen about a month back, but of course, the tapings, NJPW don't do live, so there's very much a tape delay, as they say. So there is another new member to the United Empire, and that is the one TJP. And he may have silly views on certain things, but boy, he can wrestle.
Oh, yes, he can. Yes, he's I think second only to Austin Aries in the stupid views opinion, but he is a damn fine wrestler and a strong addition to the United Empire.
Yeah, they needed a junior. It's apparently whoever, I think he was like really good friends with Clark Connors of the NJP Dojo. So joining the United Empire, he's kind of turned his back on him. And so there's a few things at play there. But yes, speaking on factions that are growing, the Northwest Strong have added 2 new members to their ranks.
Interesting selection as well.
Indeed. Keenan Krishna and Scott Oberman. Keenan has been seen on Progress very recently in a match against Chris Ridgway and recently again against Luke Jacobs. He's in the Northwest section at the moment. He's part of the Catch Pro Enigma series. The other gentleman, Scott Oberman, is the current TNT Ignition champion. And he is a member of the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. They've held a few different tag team titles here and there, if I'm right. But two fantastic young wrestlers, two wrestlers I've become very much fans of. And I love Northwest Strong. May they continue to grow stronger.
Indeed. And if you want to see a bit more of Scott Oberman, if you go onto Powered 4 TV, there is a brilliant top 3 that we discussed before.
Oh, yes, the trilogy with Cameron Solas for the Wrestle Island. Fantastic thing. I think that one is actually, as you say,
It is free, that one.
It's free to watch on Powered 4 TV. So go check that out now. You just have to sign in. No requirement for you to put any bank details in until you want to sign up, which I think is only $7.99 a month. And when you look at all the great British wrestling that you get, it's not to be missed. So yeah,
it's not.
So come on, if you were to put together a British wrestling faction focusing on the future, who would you pick?
Oh, that's a tough one. Give me just 1 second while I open up my notes, because I have written them down. I was going to call my group the Epoch, as in the specific period of time. And I was going to choose for my heavyweight, Warren Banks. I was going to choose Just Joe Lando as my cruiserweight. My tag team will be Michael Oku and Connor Mills. I will then have as my up-and-comer Mr. Charles Crowley, because I think he still counts as an up-and-comer. I know he's everywhere now, but you think about how long he's actually been doing it.
Yeah, I'll give you him.
For my women's singles wrestler, I will have Clementine, because she is awesome and everything she does at the moment, she is just getting better and better. And then I want to have the Pretty Little Killers, because I think they are the next She-Wolves. I think they are going to be huge.
I think that is a fantastic little faction. I didn't come up with a name, but it would certainly be looking towards that new generation of wrestlers, the great generation, all phenomenal talents here. So Ricky Knight Jr. would lead my faction, and therefore he would be my ipso facto heavyweight, even though he's not, he kind of sits there. He can be a cruiserweight or a heavyweight. He can kind of jump between the two. For my cruiserweight, I am choosing someone similar to you. You mentioned him, but I'm taking him away from Michael Oku. I'm telling him that Michael Oku is no good for him and that he needs to come with Ricky Knight Jr. because he's hard and Michael Oku isn't. I don't mean it that way, honest.
I think you're just begging for a slap by the OJMO.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I'll go from this way. You're a wrestler. He's a sports entertainer.
Oh, 2 slaps.
Oh, I'm kidding. Michael Oku is like one of the best cruiserweights. There are my gripe against him really is the fact that I actually just think Connor Mills is better. I prefer Connor Mills, and I know how popular the OJMO is, Michael Oku is. I'm like, man, Connor Mills should be that popular because. So
Do you
anyway,
know what made Connor Mills more popular?
Why not?
A haircut.
You may be right. Now you're looking for a kick in. Right, back to it. The Billington Bulldogs, Cobb, they are hard as nails. They are young. They are Tom and Mark Billington, and they are fantastic. And because of all the vial I've been spitting here, I'm going to need some protection. So I'm going to bring in for the junior my shooter, the kicker, the British Psycho. Ian Skinner.
That is a good choice.
And then I've got Chantel Jordan, because she is kick-ass. Harley Hudson, because she is kick-ass. And finally, Hannah Taylor, because I think they all add a bit different. Chantel Jordan is obviously, she's got that fighter background. Harley Hudson is the Scouse Mouse powerhouse. And Hannah Taylor was trained by Dean Allmark.
Has Harley Hudson gone on against Clementine yet?
I do not think we've seen Harley Hudson versus Clementine yet.
I don't think we have. I'd like to see that. That's a match I would like to see. Catch, we're looking at you.
Harley Hudson versus Clementine, please. Right, let's get some results. In fact, speaking of Catch, let's do some results. Catch 3 is available to watch right now on Powered 4 TV. It is a good show. You had Heidi, they had a three-way dance to begin with, which is an elimination match. A triple threat is not elimination, whereas a three-way dance is, at least according to the commentating team, who made sure to point this out at least twice. You know, fair play to them for pointing out the rules and the difference. They should be applauded for it. Let's see, here we go. Heidi Katrina was eliminated by Ivy, and then Ivy was subsequently defeated by Charlie Morgan. Charles Crowley then took on Kevin Lloyd. I thought this was a really good match. He took on Sexy Kev because it was the Charles Crowley challenge, open challenge. Old Charles Crowley opened up the challenge, and out came Kev Lloyd, the serious shooter, the wrestler. And Charles Crowley said, "No, I'm Charles Crowley. I'm not facing you. You're boring. I want someone exciting." And then came the sexy shooter, Sexy Kev. And Sexy Kev is the same as normal Kev, apart from an occasional hip gyration.
Wow.
Charles Crowley came away with a win using what I believe is called his Weasel Crutch, which is a triangle mandible claw combination. Next up was Riho, and she took on Clementine. Again, good fine match. Rio came away with victory. They shook hands, admirably respected each other after the match. But then Clementine was left in the ring alone, and then Ivy Ruby came out and attacked her. So why didn't Rio just turn around and go back out to the ring? She's going to be that far away. Somebody couldn't have said, "Hey, Clementine's being attacked." Sorry, don't mean to point things out like that. Anyway,
maybe she just doesn't like Clementine.
Maybe she didn't. Maybe that handshake was fake. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Alexis Falcon and JJ Webb took on Chantel Jordan and Chase Alexander in an intergender tag team. This is not a mixed match tag team. These men, the men and women, could fight against each other, and the women did so, and they did so very well. In fact, they beat the men up a lot. This was a good match. Alexis Falcon and JJ Webb came away with the victory. I like Chase Alexander. I've only seen a few matches of him, but I'm beginning to like him quite a lot. He's got this whole sophisticated psycho thing going. Like he's, well, no, I'm going to sip martinis, then I'm going to kill you. So I'm kind of liking it. Next up was Tom Felwell versus Scotty Rourke. Very, very good match. Two very good young competitors. A lot of praise for both Tom Felwell and Scotty Rourke for this match. This was really, really good, really well worked. Isaiah Quinn was out there, the guiding light. As he was being told to leave ringside, he accidentally dropped his Book of Isaiah, inspirational stuff that Isaiah Quinn has spoken throughout his life. Literally everything Isaiah Quinn's ever spoken, of course. And then, Tom Felwell, he did pick up that book and he did smack Scotty Rook with the book, as it said in the book of Isaiah, and he picked up the victory.
I never knew that Andrex made books. I thought their paper was generally only used for smearing.
We're in a bitchy mood today. It's because we're having to re-record this, so we're being a bit more. Anyway, the Heritage took on Lycos Gym. The Heritage is a team made up of Dean Allmark and Jodie Fleisch, and it's really good to see these guys playing out as villains because they are the respected veterans, they are the loved veteran, the beloved veterans all over. He is the style with a smile, but although to be honest, again, evil Dean Allmark just means a bit more hip gyration.
You've got a thing for hip gyrations today, haven't you?
He wears trunks. He's got a headband. It's a whole yard, you know. So the Heritage did come away with a victory in a very good match. They had somebody who I don't know interfere in the match. It was a young guy, possibly something to do with Joe Nelson's somebody's past. I don't
Joe
know
Nelson. Joe Nelson. Do you mean Kid Lycos 2?
I don't know who Joe Nelson is. Why did I say Joe? But Kid Lycos 2, I think it has something to do with his past, and maybe that this man is slated that he didn't become a Lycos or a Lykai or a Lycosai. Anyway, on to the main event, which was Lizzie Evo versus Milo Grace. This was not Lizzie Evo. Did you know you haven't watched Progress because Roy Johnson pronounces it Evo?
Well, Lizzie Evo pronounces it Evo.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with what she says.
Lizzie, you need to give Roy Johnson a slap. Yeah, Lizzie Evo took on Milo Grace, which was a replacement opponent. I can't remember the young lady who was supposed to be in her stead. They had a very good, decent enough match. And overall, this was a good show. There's a lot of young performers, some that you may not have heard of yet. So maybe you don't get quite into them straight away, but there are some really talented guys such as Tom Felwell, Scotty Rook, Clementine, Lexus Falcon, Chantal Jordan, Chase Alexander, JJ Webb. You know, these are all guys that got bright futures.
Get on board with them now because you are going to see them all over the UK scene.
That is very, very true. BWR Underground 8, Jimmy McWillie and Havoc. It was supposed to be Ginny McWillie and his cousin Jenny McWillie, but she couldn't be there, so they drafted in a local Doncaster, local Grimsby wrestling legend named Havoc, and he came in and they took on Gia Adams and
Miles Kamen,
and they came away with the win. Will's Cruz defeated Ethan Allen in a fantastic match. Of course, it's fantastic. It contained Will Cruz and Ethan Allen. They are fantastic wrestlers, and it was fantastic. I don't think there's much else I can say about that. Man Like the Reese then took on Powerhouse Blake. Now, it was supposed to be a tag team match. It was supposed to be the tag team finals, and the winner would get a shot at the BWR Tag Team Champions, second to none. Matt Myers and Nathan Cruz. And so Powerhouse Blake came down and said, well, my person's being jumped, my partner's like Big Gun Show's being jumped and he can't compete. So he then went, I'll take both of you win on a handicap match. But Reese Ryan and Man Like the Reese, they were too nice and they had rock, paper, scissors. Man Like the Reese faced Powerhouse Blake.
Did Powerhouse Blake say, I'll take them both, I'm hardcore?
Along
this
those
is obviously
lines.
An ECW phrase that you don't remember, but that's fine, that's fine.
For you ECW fans out there, you know, the two other guys that might own. Wait, what am I talking about? Anyway, Man Like the Reese and Powerhouse Blake Man Like Doris defeated Powerhouse Blake, despite Powerhouse Blake trying to cheat by holding the tights and holding the ropes during pins. After the match, he got on the mic and said, I don't care what you guys think of me, talking to the fans. I just love pro wrestling. And then he flipped off both Man Like Doris and Reese Ryan, like a good sportsman would.
Indeed.
And next. Okay, so Matt Myers then Scotty Rourke versus RKJ was absolutely fantastic. RKJ literally battered Scotty Rourke for most of the match, 90% of the match, but Scotty Rourke got the roll-up win. There were a couple of little spots where I guess the ropes weren't as tight as they should be, so they affected a couple of spots during the match. But, constant professionals dealt with it absolutely perfectly, carried on, and just fantastic match.
Amazing to see RKJ take a loss there.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. But I guess that Scotty Rourke is one of BWR's homegrown stars. So I think that's the reason for that. And of course, but right now, RKJ name is that synonymous with that British wrestling, so taking really uplifts Scotty Rourke. And as I say, most of the match was RKJ just beating the crap out of him. Next up with Matt Myers and Callum Newman. Again, there were a couple of things that went against them here, and it was due to the tight tautness of the ring ropes, can affect certain performers. But again, they did a very good job of trying to compensate for this, although Callum Newman did head straight for the back following the match after his loss. So, but that maybe. Robbie X then defeated Nathan Cruz, and I would say this is an absolutely fan-freaking-tastic match, but it loses the freaking, and in fact, it can probably get rid of the fantastic and go to, it was a very good match because they did a schmozzy finish. And it was, I didn't like it personally, so it gets some demotion for that. Overall, though, I would give this show 3.5 sugars.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Tell us about NXT UK, Dan.
NXT UK, well, it had new music.
It did.
It had new fans. Not a lot of them, but it had new fans.
But they tried to, they made themselves known.
They did, just about. It was great to see the fans back, even though there's limited numbers at the moment. That's fine. There are fans, and it makes a difference. So we started off with Blair Davenport.
Can I just go for one thing, right? NXT UK can make people wear masks at shows, so can the promoters out there. Sorry.
Okay.
Just personal view.
Blair Davenport versus Stevie Turner was the first match, and it started off with Davenport jumping the bell. Who'd have thought it? Turner had a good start, and it was much more of an even match than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think there was going to be as much for Stevie Turner to do, and this was definitely Stevie Turner's best match so far in NXT UK. There was a beautiful triple neck breaker that was pulled off, and I really enjoyed seeing that. It was done so well. And I didn't imagine that I was going to see Stevie Turner hit something like that at all. But in the end, Davenport hit knees to the face, Falcon Arrow, 1, 2, 3. Blair Davenport wins, and I don't think anyone's surprised by that.
No, as you say, it was a really, really good match. I like the fact that Stevie Turner did a triple neck breaker. It's something new. It still has the flair, obviously, the hits with the leg. So it's got the homage to the guy who did the Tres Amigos. And yeah, I thought Stevie Turner was absolutely fantastic in this. Blair Davenport is Blair Davenport or Bea Priestley, and she beats the crap out of people, and it's fun to watch.
We then had our first promo of quite a promo-heavy show. Teyaman promises Raja that his family will grow. Now, the question is, who's it going to be? And we will discuss this in a minute. We then had another promo where Skid Scala announced that in 3 weeks, Ginny will be taking on Meiko Satomura. And I am so excited for this match.
They had a phenomenal match at Progress.
And I've got to say, I don't know who's going to win this. I really don't. I think that it's highly possible that Meiko Satomura will move on. I think Ginny is capable of it, and I think Ginny deserves to be the women's champion.
Yeah, I mean, Meiko is one of the NXT UK coaches. But yeah, I guess it'd be a nice one to have Ginny take it and then have Amelia McKenzie come back, make that return, and avenge.
Pete Dunne was one of the producers. So
yeah, you never know what happens in these days.
We then have Flash Morgan Webster versus Shah Samuels. Now, neither of us were big Shah Samuels fans, were we?
No, I never liked his independent work.
No, neither did I. However, both of us are now big Shah Samuels fans.
I absolutely love Shah Samuels, NXT UK Shah Samuels. I loved every little skit he's done with Noam Dar. I've loved his matches have been a revelation. He looks so much healthier and better than he has ever done before. And it's easy to actually just get behind him. They used to call him the fat Danny Dyer. Now they might start after calling him the Jack Danny Dyer.
He, over the course of the last couple of months, he has dropped, or he's either put on muscle or dropped fat or combined of the two. My God, he's looking well.
He really is.
And this was the
spine buster.
Oh God, that hit hard.
Yeah.
This is the match that was set up by Flash Morgan Webster happy slapping him. So I can't get behind Flash Morgan Webster in this. One thing I did really like in this match was both men were outside the ring and there was a proper 10 count where I thought, they're going to get caught out. And I can't remember the last time I thought that. It's always, here we go. 8, 9, in they go. But this time I genuinely felt like the 10 count mattered. Another thing I wanted to mention was Flash Morgan Webster did a dive from the corner ropes to the outside, and the distance that he got to Shah Samuels, he absolutely flew, didn't he? He must have gone over halfway the length of the ring.
He can get some distance. I'll give him that.
However, that did fail on him because he tried to do that inside the ring, and Shah caught his dive into that massive spine buster.
Absolutely beautiful. Segment
stunning.
It just say, Arn Anderson wrote him and said, "Thank you."
The move was stunning and Flash was stunned.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Simple. We then had the Nina Samuels interview backstage. Great to see Nina Samuels. We like her. She was interviewing Xia Brookside. Less exciting. And managed to get Xia Brookside to take on Aaliyah James, who we love, in a match. So we're going to have Aaliyah James versus Xia Brookside. And I was thinking, turn Aaliyah James and put her with the family. That would work.
I went the other way. I was thinking, turn Xia Brookside and put her with the family. Since her own dad wouldn't let her train in wrestling.
Yeah, the problem is...
See, I'm going levels.
Yeah, but the problem is we don't really care about Xia Brookside. We didn't get long enough to care about Rohit Raja. And
I love Xia Brookside, but I'd like to see the dark side of Xia Brookside.
Yeah, okay. We then had another promo announcing that next week we'll have Symbiosis versus Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff. Don't mind that. It'll be a good match. Don't care about it, but don't mind it. Yeah. It was then another skit with Joe Coffey is going to be taking on Jordan Devlin, so that's another match I'll miss. We then had the NXT Championship match, and they gave it a good long time. It was over 20 minutes, I believe. A-Kid versus Ilya Dragunov, which has made our top 10 matches for NXT UK over the last 3 years, and it deserves it.
How could it not? I mean, I'm not saying it's a 5 sugar match, but it's certainly a close 4.5 sugar match. It's an absolutely fantastic match.
I watched this one with my son, who hasn't been watching much NXT UK recently, but does come with me to sort of family-friendly shows. And he was just absolutely blown away by the hard strikes that were going on in this match.
I love the fact that yourself and Stephen are going to these fantastic family shows over in a little thing with that little father and son outings. Very nice.
Yeah. So this match was just phenomenal. A-Kid damaging his shin, and to go for the shin, Dragunov grabbed him and did a dragon leg screw off the top rope. And that was nasty. And A-Kid landed on his knee. And I've got knackered knees. It turned my stomach. It really did.
But yeah, I absolutely loved this NXT UK. If I'm going to give it my sugar load, I'm going to give it.
Hold on. We haven't to do one. It was Dragunov.
Sorry, yes,
Torpedo Moscows.
Yeah, I loved the first one because it was to the leg. The Torpedo Moscow to the leg, I thought that was great. And then the second one, I'm not a big fan of the Torpedo Moscow finisher, but absolutely just phenomenal match. Dragunov and A-Kid, two of the best.
They are indeed, and I would give it 4 sugars. What would you give it?
I would also give it 4 sugars.
Wonderful.
Indeed.
ICW.
Go for it.
Fight Club. Starting off, it was announced that it wasn't a random fan that got into a fight with Jason Reed. It was, in fact, Chris Bungard, who is a Bellator MMA fighter. It has been announced that we're going to have Chris Bungard versus Jason Reed at Fear and Loathing. Fair enough. Jimmy Pierce then had his first, he didn't have his first match, he's been wrestling for a few months. Jimmy Pierce then took on Eddie Castle with the Manifesto. This was a typical Manifesto match. It looked like it was going to be one-on-one, and then the Manifesto started putting off Jimmy Pierce. They surprised him. They were rattling their chains. They were throwing in kendo sticks. In the end, Grant McIver was just far too much for him. Hit him with a flying DDT. He sort of jumped through the ropes, grabbed him into the DDT, and took him down, which was rather impressive. And then at the end, the Manifesto chained up Jimmy Pierce and kidnapped him. So are we going to have another member of the Manifesto?
Luke King Sharp's not going to be happy about that.
The Blood Tourist. We'll talk about him in a minute. We then had Martin McAllister and Darrow versus the Kings of the North. This is Kings of the North comeback match after 12 months away.
Were Darrow and McAllister already in the ring?
They were already in the ring.
Yeah, writing's on the wall.
The next question, how many offensive moves did they actually get in?
0.
1. One offensive move. And the one offensive move was Martin McAllister doing a chop to Bonesaw. Can you imagine how that went for him?
Yeah, he probably just laughed in his face with his big burly chest.
He did. Basically, this was an absolute destruction. It was
fun
to watch. It was worse than a mugging. It was, imagine in your mind, Walter versus the Chinless Wonder. What was his name? Carmella's James Ellsworth.
Oh, James Ellsworth.
Yeah. Imagine Walter versus James Ellsworth, and that's roughly where you're going to be. In the end, Kings of the North got Darrow with the Velvet Revolver. Their spinning net breaker. 1, 2, 3. This is definitely the beginning of the Kings of the North running to take on the 9-9 for the champions. That's
going to be a great match.
Oh, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Although I'm happy to see him against KOE as well. We then had Emily Hayden versus Rio. Emily Hayden jumped the bell, beat up Rio on the outside, smashed her arm against the barrier, and this was all about her going after Rio's arm. But Rio managed to power out with a running up the body kick. You know, they put the foot on the thigh, jump up, kick to the chin. So she managed to hit her with that, and then a spinning DDT. 1, 2, 3. And your winner, Riho, who's going to continue in the Women's Championship tournament.
As she should.
Theodorus and Ravy Davy, what an odd coupling.
Yeah.
Took on Sweeney and Levi. This was basically Theodorus trying to avoid Sweeney the whole time. Levi showed some really great wrestling, some real technical wrestling, and he's a great little wrestler. He's just waiting to find himself and find where he needs to sit in the mix. Basically, this was also the story of Theodorus not wanting Ravy Davy to break the rules. Ravy Davy came in the chair. Theodorus took it away from him because he wants a traditional wrestling match, but it wasn't under traditional rules. It was under ICW rules. So Sweeney just battered him, crept up from behind, hit him with the Baldo bomb, the old Albert one.
Yeah.
Bang. Love the Baldo bomb. And afterwards, Doro absolutely had a go at Ravy Davy, saying, "What on earth are you doing?" And Ravy Davy gave an impassioned speech about how much the fans want true hardcore fights, true weapons matches, everything. And Doros just smacked him with the chair. So yeah.
I agree with Theodorus.
I agree with Ravy Davy. We then had Daz Black versus Luke King Sharp for the Zero G Championship. Luke King Sharp came out with the kendo stick, but still gave a handshake to Daz Black at the beginning of the match while holding the kendo stick. Who was it? Was it the American president who said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick"? I can't imagine Luke King Sharp speaking softly.
No, ever.
No, this showed Daz Black in a different light. He's fought against Martin Kirby, he's fought against Kez Evans, and now he's had a hardcore style match as well. There was lots of chair shots, lots of kendo stick shots, some beautiful, beautiful moves, and a move that I have never seen before. Daz Black did a running shooting star press with a chair.
I never get that type of offense, though, because surely you're just driving the same chair into your own chest.
True, but it gave them both a chance to lie down and have a little bit of a break.
Oh, of course.
A broken rib, a broken sternum.
All the rest.
Massive European uppercut was hit by Daz Black as well. Absolutely humongous. And then in the end, Luke King Sharp was in control. He had Daz Black sat on a chair all groggy, went for the crossbody. Daz Black got out of the way. Luke King Sharp went to stand up, and Daz Black with a curb stomp through the chair. 1, 2, 3. You have a still Zero G champion, Daz Black.
Fantastic.
Overall, I would have given this 3 sugars.
Awesome. Sounds like a good show. Progress this week had 9 matches again. Yes, you heard me right. 9 matches in 2.5 hours.
I don't envy you this one. I struggle to write up my ICW shows. I think you must really struggle when you're writing up 9 matches on a card.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to go play by play, but you want to give as much detail about a match as possible. It gets a bit, but yeah, 9 matches. It was, they were all good matches. I'm not going to say any of these were a bad match. There's absolutely no bad match on these 9 matches. They were all good matches.
I can't imagine any of them as a bad match. I mean, I've looked at what the lineup is.
I'm going to maybe just focus on a few different of the matches. I'm going to run down the results and maybe just pick a couple to talk about. So, Lizzie Evo defeated Raven Craig. Luke Jacobs defeated Keenan. G Money defeated Danny Black. Sunshine Machine defeated Sandy Beach and LK Messinger. Riho defeated Lana. Elijah defeated Ethan Allen. The Smoking Aces defeated the Kings of the North.
Ooh, another Kings of the North match.
Sky Smithson defeated Laura Di Matteo. And then in the main event, which was the 0121 and Jody Fleisch, so Dan Maloney, Man Like DeReese, and the Jody Fleisch. And they defeated Lycos Jim and Warren Banks. So starting off with a straight, Smoking Aces and the Kings of the North should have been a main event.
You reckon?
It should have. 100% should have. One, it was an incredible match. Not that I 1-2-1 Jody Fleisch, no, but Charlie Sterling and I think the Smoking Aces deserved this main event. I think it's you've got a card where you've got champions competing. Shouldn't the champions always be the main event, regardless if they're not the world champion? They're still the tag team champions. Still the main event.
I'll give you that. I will agree with you on that. But I just love Lycos Jim and Warren Banks. I think they are such a great team.
It's such an unusual pairing as well. I mean, I do love the fact that he does come out in the Lycos gym colours each time. Each time he does it, so that was really good. There was an interesting bit during the the Sunshine Machine match when Sunshine Machine was celebrating with Roy Johnson. Warren Banks came down to speak to Roy Johnson and was like, "What are you doing? Why are you high fiving and being all things? You're a bad man." And so he said that he got a match for Roy Johnson and Warren Banks. So they will be teaming as the 8-7, as they do on a lot of independent shows. And they will be competing in a match against, so far, we don't know who's going to be. But would you like to know who's going to replace him as
but
host?
that's going to leave a gap as host. Who on earth could fill such big shoes?
Well, after Charles Crowley had helped Elijah defeat Ethan Allen, he came along and went, I've been up to mischief again, and I've got you a match with Dan Maloney, and I'm going to be the host.
I can't wait to have Charles Crowley as the host of Progress. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fantastic. I wonder if there's going to be any interaction between him and Hustle Malone, of course, because it's that whole thing. So the Riho and Sky Smithson have progressed in the Revelations of Divine Love tournament. So they were the final two matches. Lizzie Evo and Raven Creed had been eliminated the week prior. They had a really good match here. I really, really like Raven Creed as a character, as a wrestler. She is very interesting for British women's wrestling. I don't think we've got somebody like her. And so I think she's good. Lizzie Evo, of course, is fantastic.
Lizzie Evo is amazing, and Raven Creed's brilliant. She's got a great character, and she backs it up.
And if you didn't know the background about Keenan, you would wonder who he's pissed off on the Progress booking committee, because he's had two matches in Progress, one against Chris Ridgway, and the next one was this week was against Luke Jacobs, who was pissed off that he didn't beat Noir last time out. So he was looking to give somebody a good old pasting. But Keenan held his own because, of course, he is a fantastic wrestler. You can tell he was changed by Chris Ridgway, how good he is at transitioning and some of the actual basic wrestling. After the match, Luke Jacobs gave him a little fist bump. So maybe we will see Keenan and the Northwest Strong as a staple on Progress Wrestling. I 100% think they deserve it. Now, just before we go on to the Brit Wres Roundup, I was thinking recently, we did a British heavyweight tournament. We did a British junior weight tournament. What we haven't done so far yet is a British women's wrestling tournament. But rather than doing it how we've done previously, where we've talked about it beforehand and we've both picked off 16 randomly and put them together, I thought, let's do a bit different. A little bit of practice for that draft that we've got coming up. Now, I've put together a list of 50 incredible women wrestlers from the UK. Well, actually, technically, I think at least 3 of them are Canadian, wrestling over in the UK at the moment.
They're primarily British-based women's wrestlers.
Yeah, so let's go with that. Now, let's see if this is going to work.
So you've chosen 50. Are we drafting 16, I believe?
We are going to be drafting 16 each. So just as before, where we've always had 16 people in our tournaments. So what am I looking for? I want share screen. Share. Bam! So, right. Hopefully this is seen on the recording as well.
You're so professional.
So, as you can see in my little list here over here, we have a list of 50 women's wrestlers from the UK, and we're going to pick. I will graciously allow you the first pick.
Oh, in that case, if I've got first pick, I am going to go with the Mother of Chaos, Casey Owens, the 3-time former ICW champion, number 11.
Number 11. There we go. Not my one. Dan's. There we go. If I'm going to pick someone, I am going to go with one of the Canadians on our list. I'm going to go with Giselle Shaw.
I had a feeling you were going to do that.
Well, I think she's the best, the technical best women's wrestler.
Well, if you want to go with the technical best women's wrestler, that's fair enough. But I want to go with the hardest women's wrestler. I want to go with the hardcore. Where is she? Session Moth, or rather Session Goth Martina, number 14.
Woo! I forgot I put her in there. Well, we started off with two Irish.
Indeed.
There we go. Just eliminate her from the list. Okay, I'm going to go with Lizzie Evo.
I can understand that. I would like to take another hard hitter. I would like Kanji.
Ooh, good pick. There we go, getting the hang of this. I'm going to go with somebody I think has been phenomenal for the UK scene for a long, long time, Charlie Morgan.
I am going to take my first choice's tag team partner, and I will have Molly Spartan.
Bang. And I'm going to take a young wrestler, Chantel Jordan.
Nice choice. I'm going to go with somebody who I think is going to be going for some championship matches very soon for a number of different promotions. I am going to go for Zoe Lucas, number 6.
Ooh. I wouldn't have mind. I would have liked Zoe Lucas in mine. Damn you. There we go. Zoe Lucas. Okay. Shall I take somebody off the board that I think you would really like? I'm going to pick Alex Windsor.
Nice choice. I will have Zoe Lucas's tag team partner, Mariah May, number 17.
And I'm going to pick up another young competitor. She's another one of the Canadians on the list, and that is Aurora Tevez.
That's a nice choice. Well, I do like my ICW. I do have quite a few wrestlers that have been wrestling in ICW, and I am going to go for another one. I would like to have Anastasia, please.
Ooh, nice pick. I would like to get a big powerhouse in my one as well, so I'm going to go with LA Taylor.
If you want a big powerhouse, you want number 5, Mercedes Blaze.
Bam. Okay. I'm going to go with an ICW. I'm going to go with Angel Hayes.
Nice choice. Somebody who I really like their work, and then when I spoke to them after a match, they seemed like one of the nicest people going. Sky Smithson.
Well, I'm going to go with her recent opponent in Laura Di Matteo.
Laura Di Matteo is very amazing. Really good. I'm going to look to the future now, and I am going to pick somebody who I think is going to be absolutely huge. I'm going to go Clementine.
Clementine, she's so zesty. I think I'm going to look a little bit for I'm going to go to the Scouse Mouse Powerhouse. Harley Hudson, get a bit of a nice young competitor in there again.
That is a good choice. Who am I liking the look of here? Oh, God, how did I miss her? Number 21, Heidi Katrina.
Oh,
She's been having
powerhouse.
some great matches recently in Wrestle Carnival and in Catch.
Indeed. I'm going to bring the crazy Raven Creed.
You think you know me crazy? I know Kara. No, I am going to stick with your crazy then. And I am going to have Ivy up top.
Oh, yeah. Boom. Oh, on to the last few picks each. And I am going to go with, well, I brought the other two in. So my third young women's pick earlier, Hannah Taylor.
I'm surprised she's gone this far without being selected. I am going to go on for Gia Adams, number 18.
Yeah. We're going to have some meaty matchups there. I'm going to go with a young wrestler from the Southwest right now, Echo Reed.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with a wrestler who is the pride of Liverpool. Number 19, Alexis Falcon.
Don't tell Lizzie Evo that.
Well, that's what I've gone for her. You see, she's going to have to take on Lizzie Evo again and again and again.
Let's have a look. See. I'm going to bring Kyra Chimera. She's a powerhouse, and she adds a bit more of a hardcore element into my tournament.
Okay, my penultimate choice is going to be the locksmith, Evie Madden.
I was kind of hoping you were going to miss that one. It shows you need to pick them quick. Oh, you know, I forgot. Should have put on this one.
Hold on a minute.
Okay. I'm gonna put on the third Canadian, Madison Miles.
Oh, you're going to have a whole clique of Canadians.
Indeed.
My final choice, and this is definitely not someone who should be a final choice. This is someone that should be a top choice. And I'm very pleased that they are left on for me to select. Rio.
Oh my God, how did I miss the fact that she hadn't been picked yet? That is absolutely terrible. She was in the catch 3 main event, Milo Grace. Bam. So there we go. You want to run down your 16? Tell us who they are.
I have Casey Owens, Session Moth Martina, Kanji, Molly Spartan, Zoe Lucas, Mariah May, Anastasia, Mercedes Blaze, Sky Smithson, Clementine, Heidi Katrina, Ivy, Gia Adams, Alexis Falcon, Evie Madden, and Rio. And I think I've got a pretty unbeatable start there. I think I could make an entire promotion around that.
You could literally, yeah. And again, it's the same with the 16 here. Giselle Shaw, Lizzie Evo, Charlie Morgan, Chantel Jordan, Alex Windsor, Aurora Tevez, L.A. Taylor, Angel Hayes, Laura DiMatteo, Harley Hudson, Raven Creed, Hannah Taylor, Echo Reed, Kyra Chimera, Madison Miles, and Milo Grace. And actually, if you look at the young ladies left here, these fantastic women, you can literally make another fantastic promotion based around those incredible.
We've left Souden a decent lineup there.
We have left Souden on a decent lineup. I'm sure he'll be pleased to take that group on. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see how to stop share. There we go. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was. Anyway, back to it. You want to kick us off?
Yes, let's. We are going to go to our Brit Wres Roundup. All the things that are coming up. No, this isn't the Brit Wres Roundup. This is the.
Well, technically, it is the Brit Wres Roundup.
Yeah. It's only the second time I've done this, and I'm still cocking it up. Although actually, it's the 40th time we've done this.
It is. We're doing quite well. And then if you actually count in somebody, because obviously we changed the way we set up, we were well over 50 episodes.
Yeah. Right, Purpose Wrestling have announced their next show, Puppies Are Forever, on Friday the 10th of December at the Merton Arts Space in Wimbledon. And I'm gutted because, again, I'm not going to be able to go because I'm DJing that night.
Well, you know, 'tis the season, and I love the sentiment. Puppies are forever. Yes, they are. Remember that, folks. Puppies are forever, not just for Christmas. And yeah, great promotion coming out of London there.
Great lineup they have as well. They haven't announced it for this match, but this show. But looking at their previous shows, they're going to have some real good stars on there.
Before you do the TNT Ignition, let's just quickly talk about TNT Extreme and their Extreme Fields show, which is absolutely phenomenal. Dan Maloney, Nathan Cruz, Dean Allmark, Chris Ridgway. The She-Wolves will be in action. Elijah versus Cameron Solis. Nico Angelo versus Scotty Rourke versus Robbie X in a triple threat. Gia Adams and Alexis Falcon versus the Liverbirds. Lizzie Evo and Angel Hayes. Big Guns Joe will be in action. The Young Guns will be in action against Lycos Jim. Scott Oberman will be in action, the TNT Ignition champion. And then you got Tom Felwell versus LK Messinger. And for you deathmatch enthusiasts out there, it's going to be Clint Margera versus Tyler Devon in the Extreme Division Championship match. And they've got a bunch of fantastic bands that are due to be playing at the show. I mean, I assume they're fantastic. I'm not young enough to know who these bands are. I'm not cool enough to know who these bands are, because of obviously only the coolest bands would be at this. Attack Theory Junior. Actually, I do know who that is, because that's Mark Andrews' band, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But there we go. We know one. Attic Theory Jr., Scare Tactics, Only the Righteous, Nebulise, Disraeli Trip, Saturday the 30th of October. And believe me, if I wasn't already had a previous engagement, I would be there. I actually tried in vain to get out of the engagement literally this weekend after we received the mail. But yeah, I absolutely tried to do everything I could to get out of family things, but unfortunately, it is family things. The time is coming, and there's, so I really, really, really hope they have a fantastic show. I'm sure it will be. Tell us about the Ignition show the next day.
The Ignition show, TNT Ignition have announced that the TNT Ultra X Championship will be returning to Ignition, and there will be a title match at Little Show of Horrors on the 31st of October. But who will be the champion? Because Scotty Rourke is defending the title the night before at Extreme Fields in a triple threat against Robbie X and Nico Angelo. Speaking of Little Show of Horrors, they have announced that three if you count the Ultra X championship match, will be decided. But we also have Chase Alexander versus Gene Money, RP Davey versus Drill, and then the previously announced Big Guns Joe versus Shreddy. It'll be nice to see Big Guns Joe in a non-hardcore match. Gia Adams versus Tonga, Brian Aidenson and Simon Miller versus Synergy. They're going to get battered. It's looking like a really good card.
I'm sure it'll be a fantastic card. I saw one tweet actually the last time TNT Ignition did a show, and it literally just said, if there's anything that's been proved of this last event, it's that TNT Ignition isn't a second or a secondary brand. It is just the second brand.
Oh, and incidentally, I have listened to a Disraeli's Whip song.
Oh, you have?
I did. They've got loads of songs on Apple, and I listened to Aisle 43 and then Killdozer, and I like them.
There you go then. Phoenix Event have announced that they will be returning with one more round 5, and it is in Sheffield, and it will be to help raise money for the Cavendish Cancer Care. All tickets will be £5 and available at the door or via Ringside World. It's for a great cause, and it's £5. If you're in the Sheffield area, get your butts in gear, get down there. Anyway, the matches are Adam Sparks versus Kyle Kingsley in a Shooting Star Championship match. The Violence Party versus Crashboat, our good friends Crashboat. I think they're just a phenomenal young tag team. Styx versus Mickey Van Riot. Yes, you heard right. Styx and Mickey Van Riot do still wrestle. Lycos 2 and LJ versus LJ Heron versus Diamond Dave Andrews versus Leon Slater. And then in the main event, possibly the main event. No, surely the championship match will. Brady Phillips and Ivy versus Adam Bolt and Jack Tayson. Should be a fun show. And Styx and Mickey Van Riot are fantastic veterans.
Are indeed. I've just seen some news I'm going to have to add. That's just broken on Twitter. SWW Wrestling, Southwest Wrestling have announced Nightmare on the 31st of October. The event will feature the first ever SWW casket match. Love a casket match. And it will feature Dan Maloney, Ruby Radley, and Ivy from the Pretty Little Killers. Not in the casket match, in the thing overall.
You never know. It could be the casket match.
That's possible.
Could be.
I'm assuming.
Ivy and Ruby Radley. I mean, we know Dan Maloney's jacked and everything, but Ivy and Ruby Radley, and they've got the baseball bat. I'd put my money on the girls. Anyway, Spirit Wrestling have announced their second show, fresh off the success of their first show. Their next show will be Redo, which will be on the 21st of November. And at the show will be Brady Phillips, Ivy, Rio, Philip Michael, Natalie Skies, HT Drake, Chantel Jordan, Adam Bolt, Jack Tayson, and H Block.
Hey, Wrestle Carnival! We love you, Wrestle Carnival. I'm wearing my Graps Apparel t-shirt, his sister company. They have announced Danny Black, Joe Lando, Adam Bolt, and Man Like Dries will be turning to the Carnival for Wrestle Carnival Mania. Plus, the debuting Sean Custom will be making his first appearance. That's what debuting means.
I feel like there could be a Daredevil gauntlet match coming up, because there was a strongman gauntlet last time, and every carnival needs a strongman as well.
We need a tightrope match.
Tightrope match.
So I can see where you're coming from with that. I think that could be fun. Carnival Mania, as previously announced, will have Zoe Lucas, Giselle Shaw, Lizzie Evo, and Heidi Katrina, plus Doug Williams versus Joe Hendry in a Ring of Honor Pure Rules match, and Chris Ridgway versus Francesco Akira in a submissions match.
Carnival Mania is exactly what it says on the tin. Jay Joshua is also due to face Joe Hendry. These are all just going to be... Jay Joshua is due to face Elijah.
I'm just going to put in another bit of news here. So I've just had some breaking news come up on Twitter from Future Shock Wrestling, and I don't believe we have anything from Future Shock.
Not on this one, apparently.
Lizzie Evo is going to be unable to compete in Adrenaline Rush on November the 7th. They will be announcing her replacement as soon as possible.
Oh, that is very much such a shame. Before, I was going to mention that Wrestle Carnival, you can now buy the first 3 shows on DVD.
Yes, you can. And the packaging is gorgeous.
Poster packaging, fantastic. And I love it. It's, I think they're £7 each. They're available on Wrestle Carnival's website. You can also buy them as a triple pack for £15. And I have told my missus, my fiance, because Christmas is coming up. So just reminding you, okay? And I know she listens.
So do I. She edits as well. DNA Pro Wrestling have announced their 2 final shows for Fear.
2 final matches.
2 final matches for Fear. On 30th of October in Suffolk, a tag team championship match main event will see BDSM, our faves, versus the Rebellion versus the Lads, who are the current champions. Plus, Corey McRae versus CJ Carter versus Tim Lee, and already announced Evie Madden versus Heidi Katrina. I think I chose both of them, didn't I?
I think you've missed off a little bit because Forrest Hayes versus Tommy Kyle, Big F and Joe versus Warren Banks, and Danny Black versus Callum Newman.
It's possible that I didn't scroll down far enough on my screen.
Oh, that's quite all right because wow, Danny Black, Callum Newman, we've seen that before. We know it's fantastic. It'll be fantastic again.
We're always happy to see that.
And Big F and Joe versus Warren Banks should be a fun match.
It will.
Kamikaze Pro have announced their Underground 7 show, which will be on the 14th of November. It is a Kamikaze Pro title match. It is Sean Custom versus the Jordan Elliott Experience. And this is added to the previously announced Session Moth Martina versus Lana Austin and Chris Ridgway versus Chantel Jordan.
Shropshire Wrestling Alliance, SWA, have announced their next show for the 20th of November at Dorley Town Hall with no cons, just wrestling. A new SWA champion will be crowned at the show.
Fantastic. Future Wrestling, or FUTR Wrestling, Future Wrestling, have announced that they've added 2 more matches to their 23rd of October Halloween house party in Sutton on Ashfield, and that includes David Grant versus Brandon Brooks and Wesker versus Jack Turner. This is added to the previously announced Lucia Lee versus Natalie Skies and Brett Myers versus Zunda Zulu.
Tidal Wrestling are back in Huddersfield on the 14th of November with Stranger Than Fiction. 3 matches have been announced, including Will Cruz versus Robbie X for the Tidal Championship, Violence Party Jack Turner and B.A. Rose versus the Merseyside Mercenary Squad, Dan Evans and Scott Oberman, as we mentioned earlier, Ivy versus Casey versus Natalie Skies, Ace Matthews versus Seb Serif, and H.T. Drake versus Carlos Zamora versus Tom Felwell.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that their last show is going up on Powered 4 TV this week.
No, they're on IWTV.
Sorry, on IWTV this week. My mistake.
Independent wrestling television, yes. More American shows, although there are Wrestle Carnival, North Wrestling, and Tidal Chapter. So there's 3 UK shows on there. Brit Wrestling are in St Austell, and this is on the 14th of November. 4 matches have been announced. Jim Diehard versus Grayson Reeves, Kieran Fox and Country Big defend their tag team championships against Lance Cole and Lucian Phillips, Beauty and the Beast. Nick Riley versus Lee Hunter, and I'm sure every junior in the back will be watching closely during that match. And Ruby versus Aurora.
Black Country Championship Wrestling, BCCW, make their debut on the 22nd of October in Tipton with the Halloween Mayhem. 5 matches announced so far for their sold-out show. Congratulations, we'd love to see a sellout. The Clarkwood Brothers versus the Hunter Brothers. Kian Fox Kelly versus Dan Maloney. Wesker has issued an open challenge. Luke Basham versus MJ Grayson versus Luke Douglas. And RC Chaos versus the Elliot Jordan Experience.
Well, Prime Wrestling Entertainment, well, they've unveiled the poster for their upcoming 13th of November show. It has the 5 participants for the 5-way elimination match: Mickey Limerick, Tommy Zane, Joseph Beggs, Liam Slater, and H.T. Dreg. It also features Shreddy and the debuting Dan Maloney, as well as tea and tight favourite Rebecca Resner. I'm thinking of making some signs up for her because I know she's a My Hero Academia fan, which I'm currently representing as an anime fan. So I was thinking something like Plus Ultra or Go Beyond.
My daughter would understand this. I'm just going to smile and nod. Sacrifice Pro Wrestling have added several matches to their upcoming card on the 11th of November. Los Palminos, Frankie Vegas and Danny Mayhem versus Night Fury, Mia Cortez and Evie Madden for tag team championships. Kyle Kingsley versus Warren Banks versus Kent Nelson. Hustle Malone versus Kai Payne. Tommy Kyle versus Roy Johnson, and the previously announced match, Memes versus Jade versus CJ Carter versus Alexander Roth. I think for me, the Tommy Kyle versus Roy Johnson match really stands out there.
Yeah, I like Alexander Roth, that wrestling memes match, Jade, CJ Carter, Roth. I'm a big fan of Roth, so I think that should be a great match as well. Ignite Pro Wrestling have had to make a change to their previously announced card. Unfortunately, Charles Crowley is no longer available for their October 23rd show and will be replaced by Joe Lando. So if you're going to replace him, bring in one of the best high flyers in the business, because he will excite the crowds just as much as Charles Crowley will entertain the crowds.
And he's a lovely guy. Go back and watch our interview with him that we did. And he's a top bloke, is Joe.
Very, what's the word? Like not brag, the opposite to braggadocious.
Down to earth.
Very down to earth, yes.
Yeah, which is ironic, really, because it's the complete opposite of his wrestling style. Catch Pro Wrestling, the Catch Pro Enigmas series update here with Block B. The night 2 matches see Kev Lloyd on 2 points versus Keenan Krishna on 0 points, and Scotty Rook 2 points versus Joey Haynes on 0 points. Plus the main event of the evening, Lakers Jim versus Ethan Allen and Chris Ridgway.
That's going to be a fantastic match. So yeah, the Enigma series, the Block A stand-ins, Dynamite Lee and Tom Felwell both have 2 points, being Joe Kessler on none, and Block B, as you just mentioned, Kevin Lloyd and Scotty Rourke on 2 points, and Joey Hayes and Keenan Krishna on no points. They also recently released the main event from the night 1 for free on YouTube. Ethan Allen versus Chris Ridgway. He just battered the crap out of each other for 22 minutes. Great.
Excellent. And free.
So the Italian Wrestling Federation, Cara Noir, is set to face Karen Brigante for the number 1 contenders match for Jordan Saeed's heavyweight championship.
Nice. UKPW. They promised a 6-man ladder match for their tables, ladders and scares on the 31st of October in Faversham, and my God, have they delivered. We have Broadside Buff defending his inter-regional title against Truman Roswell, Danny Black, KM Lane, Callie Gray, and Maverick Mayhew. That's going to be a bit special, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that mix. You've got some athletic guys in there. You've got some high-flying guys in there. And then you've got a couple of guys who maybe more down to earth, and one big boy in there. So very interesting 6-man ladder match.
Indeed. Ava White will also take on Kira Chimera in the women's tournament semi-final. And in the other women's tournament semi-final, Evie Madden will take on Lizzie Grace. We also have Alexander Roth versus RJ Singh, which I believe will be the main event.
Indeed. One final one. Vortex Pro Wrestling are coming back under new management on the 26th of November in Slough. So far, announcing that the Rebellion, Jordan Saeed, Barry Gonzalez, and Charles Crowley will all be there.
Excellent.
And that about wraps things up for today. So thank you, folks, for joining us once more on the Tea and Ties, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling. And remember, folks, don't feed the trolls.